Hi, I'm Willie Lawson. I'm a candidate for County Commission District 3 here in Hillsborough County. And what I want to talk to you about today are the new Florida voting laws. Now, I know there's been a lot of consternation about those laws, but we're going to summarize them in this video series so you understand. That's really kind of a twofold purpose of this video series. First of all, to summarize what the laws really are, what they really say, and second of all, and most importantly, is to encourage you to participate in the system, encourage you to register to vote, encourage you to make sure that your voter registration is up to date now, and understand what you're dealing with. And you know what? Tell your friends. Tell your friends. Don't ever go to vote by yourself. Always take a friend. And you know what? And if you're going to go register to vote, take somebody else with you. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the real power. The real power is in our vote. It's something that, quite frankly, in some communities, we haven't used to our fullest potential, especially in local elections. So we can do that this time, and that's what this video series is about. My whole campaign is about getting people to participate. Because you know what? It's the people that matters. All right. Listen, we're going to go over some of the provisions in this first part of this video. This is right from the Supervisor of Elections website, and it reads as follows. Governor Scott signed CS/CB HB 1355 into law. Its effective date is May 19th. 2011. That's a few days ago. Except for a few sections as noted above, the division will provide presentations on the new law at the FSASE conference in June. But in the meantime, you should become familiar with the new law that contains numerous changes in the election code. Significant changes. These are the big deal changes that we are going to concentrate on in this video series. The first thing we're going to talk about is the election administration. Now, this is how the supervisor of elections in all the counties are going to handle ballots. So that's important that we know that. You know, some of these things happen behind the scenes, and we're just not really aware of how the supervisor of elections office in these counties have to handle ballots. So I think it's important that we understand a little bit about the process. Okay. Some of the big deal and some of the big changes are on absentee ballots. And an absentee ballot is that if you live somewhere else and you want to vote in a local election, or you want to vote at all, you might have to file an absentee ballot. Or sometimes people file absentee ballots when they know they're just not going to have time to go stand in that long line and vote. So they file an absentee ballot. Here's the deal. The first thing is delivery period. Okay, the new law standardizes the time frames during which absentee ballots are sent to military overseas and to other voters via methods requested by the voter. Now, the voter may say, send me one by mail or by email or by fax even. The deadline to send absentee ballots to military overseas is 45 days. Okay, 45 days before the election, they got to get the ballots overseas. Well, that's obvious. If they're in theater in Afghanistan or Pakistan or you know, or anywhere across the planet, you know, they have to get those ballots out to there at least a month and a half beforehand. The window to mail absentee ballots to all other absentee ballot voters is between 35 to 28 days, about a month. That way they can get them there and get them back. Okay. Ballot instructions are different. The new law amends the absentee ballot instructions to include the notice to the voter that if the signature on the certificate does not match the signature on record, the ballot will not count. Okay? Which is the standard canvassing boards to follow under the current law, that the signature update received before canvassing of the ballot, the absentee ballot begins. Now, all that to say this, that the signature on the certificate has got to match the certificate on the ballot. Well, that's understandable, isn't it? You want to make sure that people aren't voting for other folks, right? You know, there's been this whole deal about, and it's happened on both sides about voter fraud. And what we have to understand is the last thing that can happen in this sort of representative republic is voter fraud. Because, again, that's where our big power is. We have to make sure that the elections are fair. So again, the on the ballot, the certificate has to match the signature that's on file. And if you have to, and my suggestion right now is, if you need to update, if you have someone who's overseas and they need to update, let's get that done now, because we are almost a little more than a year away from the elections in 2012. We'll be electing either electing or re-electing a president. We'll be electing senators and people in the House of Representatives and people like me for County Commission. So it's important that we have that information updated, and the sooner we do it, the better off we're going to be. The third thing is canvassing. The new law allows county canvassing boards to begin canvassing absentee ballots at 7 a.m. on the 15th day before an election instead of the 6th day. That means they'll start going through the ballots 9 days earlier. And I think that's just going to be easier for them. And it ought to be more accurate, because there'll be fewer in the beginning, you understand? There'll be fewer in the beginning, so it ought to end up being more accurate. And accuracy is, and it's got to be the most important part. Okay? There it is. Listen, on part 2, we are going to talk about changes in the voter registration record. Now, again, the whole purpose of this video series is so you participate in the system, that you understand exactly what the new laws are, and you can participate fully. And get a friend. Don't do this by yourself. If you haven't registered to vote, please register. We are one of the few countries in the world where it doesn't cost to register, and everybody is encouraged to participate. So right now, I'm encouraging you to participate. All right, listen, we'll be back with Volume 2, and it's going to address changes to the voter registration record. Until then, we'll see you then. And again, if you want to know more about the Will Lawson for County Commission campaign, just go to votelawson2012.com. That's votelawson2012.com. You can send me an email at electlawson@gmail.com. We'll be back in a little bit. Thanks.